Hi, friends, it's Annie Grace. Apologies if you just turned into that one. The windstorm totally disconnected my signal, so I'm going to try this one again. So, the question today is what is a naked mind? And Ned asked this question, and I think it's cool because I haven't actually been asked this before. And I thought really long and hard about how to title the book, This Naked Mind. And of course, at the crux of it, it originally came from I was actually eating some bare naked granola, which is organic granola without preservatives or chemicals. And the idea of having a naked mind when I knew I had been putting, for years I had been putting so much, well, preservatives and chemicals into my brain and intoxicants and whatnot. The idea of having a naked mind and just the idea of how good it felt to put something organic and chemical free into my body and thinking, oh, well, I'm going to be doing that with my mind as well because I'm not going to be putting in these neurotoxins. I'm not going to be putting things into my mind that change my thinking or change my behavior, or, stuff like that. So that idea on its surface of just being naked within your mind and really taking life with how you were born to take it, instead of believing that I needed all this other stuff, all these other kind of cushions or self medications or crutches to survive it, had a lot of appeal. I mean, it's not the easiest idea and it can be terrifying at times because if there's one thing, that I would say, if you ask me, do I miss anything about drinking? I don't miss anything about drinking. What I miss is the idea of drinking. I miss the idea that there was something that I could have put into my glass to take away the anxiety or take away, whatever. And I've really proven to myself through self-experimentation that that doesn't happen. Like, it makes it worse over time, and I'm a much less happy person when I drink. But the idea that there is some magic thing that does me no harm, that doesn't make things worse over time, that can go in my glass, yeah, I mean, that was an attractive idea. Equally, the idea of not needing anything to live my life and take my life just how it is, how it's been given to me, and live it, naked with a naked mind, I think is kind of this really, really appealing idea. So the first answer is that it came just simply from this idea of not having anything in your brain that's going to take it away from how it was kind of created, created naked. We came out of the womb naked. We didn't have intoxicants. We didn't have self-medication devices. We didn't have, crutches to relax us, and just this idea of being naked. And then the other idea is more about, coming back to being whole again. And I think when you were young, when you were a baby, you had these ideas that, when you would cry when you needed food, you would throw a temper tantrum when you were mad. There wasn't a lot of things that you did that you beat yourself up for. There wasn't a lot of division inside yourself about, oh man, well, I shouldn't cry because I need food or whatever. And then you become an adult and you start to do things that you're not entirely comfortable with. And especially around drinking, because you have this very conscious desire to drink less, at least I did, and it was strong, conscious desire to drink less. But I had a really, another thing happening in my brain. Another thing was going on where despite my conscious desire to drink less, despite my conscious desire to be healthier, to live a life without chemicals, I had this other thing that was making me want and crave alcohol, and it was something I didn't understand. And after kind of years of research and my experience with some pain that I realized I was burying kind of deep within my psyche, I came to the conclusion that this other thing was this deep, unconscious desire that had been ingrained in me literally since I can remember, seeing people drink, seeing adults drink, seeing the adults in your life drink, seeing drinking on TV, seeing drinking at every conceivable social occasion. The last funeral I was at, there was drinking. The last baby shower I was at, there was drinking. There's nothing we do as a society, it seems, without alcohol. And so we're led to believe that it's this really vital piece of life. And so I had this deep in my psyche belief that alcohol was a vital piece of life and that life needed alcohol and alcohol needed life. And so when I had this conscious desire to drink less, it was not that strong. It was strong, but it was not strong enough to overcome all this unconscious conditioning that I had around the benefits of alcohol. And so my method really takes you through liminal thinking, which is your subliminal, the space between your conscious mind and your subliminal or your unconscious mind, to dig into all those reasons, to say why exactly do I believe? You write an entire list of all the reasons conceivable that you believe you want to drink, that you need to drink, that you think drinking is a good idea. And then one by one, we go through them all and say, okay, why was this belief formed? Where did it come from? What experiences in your life have you had? And then how does it stack up against what science says, what reality says? And then, by the way, let's just try it out. Let's go to a party without drinking. Let's see how it goes. And let's put your own experience in the mix. And of course, nothing is more powerful in changing your deeply ingrained beliefs than your own personal experience. So a naked mind is twofold. It is one, just about the sheer lack of toxin that you're putting in your body, and both toxin on it, like an actual ethanol is what gasoline is made out of, ethanol is what alcohol is made out of. Anything that makes you puke when you drink too much of it is toxic, that gives you a hangover is toxic. So not putting that in your body, I think, is just this naked, healthy, refreshing thing. Equally, not putting something in your body that's going to make you lose your temper when you wouldn't have otherwise, make you forget the night when you wouldn't have otherwise, make you have sex with that stranger when you wouldn't have otherwise. That's polluting your mind in a different way, in a mental way, in a how you think way. It changes how you think. And so leaving those things out, I think, is one aspect of being naked. But the other aspect is really about coming back together as this whole person, as this whole kind of unashamed person, where your decisions, your conscious decisions, your desire to drink less or to drink nothing is completely in line with your unconscious cravings and desires. Because by going in and exploring the unconscious, exploring the reasons that you drink, we're actually able to bring them into light. And when they come into light, they dissipate, because you compare them against reality. And a lot of readers say it's like having a switch flipped. You just flip the switch, and all of a sudden the desire to drink just kind of goes away. And suddenly you're at this really whole place inside yourself where, oh, okay, it's like I never drank, because before I ever drank a drink, I never wanted to drink a drink. Before I ever drank at a party or socially, I never believed that I needed to drink at a party or socially. And I mean, the most cliche thing to say is children's birthday parties, but go to a children's birthday party. They are crazy. They have more fun than you can imagine, and they're running around and nobody's drinking alcohol, and even high schoolers, listen in the locker room. Even when you start to have puberty and stress and all that stuff, still a high school locker room is this fun, rambunctious, loud, laughing place. And again, there's no alcohol. So I think that getting back to that place where you're not drinking just because you're saying, okay, this isn't good for me anymore, I'm not going to let myself do it, but you're really undoing those years and years of believing it's important, to where you come out the other end and you no longer believe it's important. So twofold to what a naked mind is. And thank you, Ned, for the question. It was a pleasure for me to answer, because it took me a really long time to think of that title for the book, but I think it does embody just kind of coming back to wholeness and health and peace, peace inside yourself, where this very conscious desire to drink less comes in line with this very powerful unconscious conditioning that alcohol is important, and then you can be really whole and complete, just as kind of you were made. So anyway, thanks again, Ned, and please ask me questions. I'm going to keep answering them as long as they keep coming in. So far they keep coming in. Very happy to answer any question. I mean, seriously, ask me anything. I will do my best to answer it. I will research it if I don't know the answer myself. And my name is Annie Grace, and I am the author of This Naked Mind. Thanks.